We welcome you back into the lunch break. Chris Schubert here with you. We've got you until the top of the hour. The lunch break, KDUS AM 1060, 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here on this program. Let's dive back into the disappointment yesterday that was the Arizona Cardinals and the questions that we have coming out of this game. And I think the number one glaring question that we have surrounding this team is, do we still believe in the quarterback? And I think that is a conversation that we put to the side. I think it is a conversation that we thought was over. I think it was a conversation that we put in the rearview mirror. And it is a conversation that after the last 3 games and after yesterday is 100% back on the table. That Pandora's box reopened yesterday. It reopened with 2 first-quarter interceptions that doomed the Arizona Cardinals. They melted down yesterday. Kyler Murray melted down yesterday. We talked a little bit earlier in the show about this team having a ceiling with Kyler Murray. And I'm sorry. I know that they were, quote-unquote, ahead of schedule. This team was 6-4 going into the bye week, had one of, if not the easiest schedules the remainder of the season. They've lost all 3 games coming out of the bye week, and they basically have torpedoed their chances of making the playoffs. There has to be some accountability to that. You can be ahead of schedule, but guess what? ASU was ahead of schedule. How's that working out for them? What did they do when they were ahead of schedule? They came through in the big moments. What did this team do when they were ahead of schedule? They folded. That's what they've done the last 3 weeks. They folded. And I think a lot of it goes back to the play of the quarterback. And so I think these last 4 games are really important because I think not making the playoffs is going to be a bummer. Not making the playoffs is going to be a sour note to end this season on its own. If this offense continues to perform this poorly, if Kyler Murray continues to perform this poorly down the stretch, and there are more losses coming for this team, if they don't get to 8 wins, if they are below 500 when the season is over and Kyler doesn't play well the rest of the season, I think it's going to be worse. Because what I think that does, it opens up an entire offseason, an entire summer of wondering, do the Cardinals have a quarterback? Do they have a franchise quarterback? And this sport moves really quickly because we did a segment last week talking about the athletic rankings for quarterbacks and how Kyler Murray was in the bucket of signed, committed, and content, right? And in the group was Jared Goff was in that group, Jalen Hurts was in that group, but also Baker Mayfield and Dak Prescott were in that group. And we said on this show that he was a lot closer, that being Kyler Murray, to Dak Prescott, to Baker Mayfield, than he was Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff. Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff, content, committed, double-digit win teams, fighting it out for the 1 seed, fighting it out to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott, hurt, but when he was playing, not playing particularly well, a Cowboys team that was not competing for the NFC East, that was not competing for a playoff spot. Baker Mayfield trying to find his way to win the division. But Baker Mayfield's probably the closest comparison to Kyler Murray because look at the 2 teams, Arizona, Tampa Bay. Look at those 2 franchises. Baker is 7-6 right now. The Cardinals are 6-7. Look what Baker did on Sunday. Look what Baker did yesterday against a bad Raiders team. They took care of business. They got the job done. They won a game after the Vikings had lost, and they put themselves, or after the Vikings had beat the Falcons and the Falcons had lost, they had put themselves in first place in the division. They came through in the big moment. The Cardinals so far post-bye have not. That leads us to ask questions. You have concerns about the coaching staff. We're not talking about firing anybody. We still believe in this coaching staff. But you come out of the bye week, and these are the efforts we get for 3 weeks, you would be stupid to not be a little concerned about what you're seeing. You would be foolish to not at least be like, hello, what's going on here? What are we doing? We were 6-4, 4-game winning streak. Bye came at the perfect time. Second half of the schedule is really nice for this team. And this is what we've gotten for 3 weeks? This is what this has looked like with the playoffs on the line, the division on the line? You would be foolish to not be concerned and to not be looking at these last 4 games through a very critical lens. You want to see the effort over the last 4 games. You want to see this team fight. You want to see this team battle. It might come up short. If it comes up short, we will have an offseason worth of questions to answer. What holes do they need to fix? What went wrong at the end of the season? We will debrief and have all of those conversations when the time comes. But more importantly than that coming up short, if this spirals out of control, if they lose to the Patriots or to the Panthers, and they maybe finish 7-10, we might be asking some really serious questions that we didn't think we were going to be asking. Because I wonder, and it will not lead to change, but I wonder if this thing completely bottoms out, and we're talking about a team that is 7-10 or 8-9 in the offseason, and it completely bottomed out, they went, what would that be, 2-5 post-bye? Think about that just for a second. 6-4 going into the bye. If they only win 2 of their remaining 4 games, they would have finished the year 2-5. Now, you might say it's some level of symmetry because they started the year 2-4. But to end the year 2-5, I think it's not going to make the seats hot, but they are going to be a little warmer than we thought they were ever going to be. Because you have to give me an explanation for 2-5 to close the season. You have to give me an answer to why a team can be in first place and have everything in front of them and be in control and finish the year 2-5. And that's if they split the remaining games on the calendar. There's a possibility they go worse than that. 7-10, you go 1-6 down the stretch. You're going to have to answer for that. And so that is going to lead us to an offseason of wondering, are they making the right decisions? Why isn't this coaching staff getting more? We like this coaching staff. We believe in this coaching staff. Why did they go 2-5 down the stretch? Why did they go 1-6 down the stretch? And that they have to win games. It's not like they already have a couple of wins in the bag. They're 0-3 since the bye. So they got to do some work here to just get us to a place to have the 2-5 conversation. So these last 4 games, they're still mathematically alive for the playoffs. So that is part of the equation. But I'm taking it off the table personally because they are 0-3 since the bye week, and they have looked brutal offensively. So the thing that I need to get answered over the next 4 games, the thing that I'm looking for is Kyler's got to give me something. Kyler has to give me something to point to that he should be the long-term answer, the franchise quarterback for this team. Because right now, I'm starting to think we are going to go back to having that conversation of, do the Cardinals need to move on from Kyler Murray? Because if your ceiling is a 7-8 win operation, potentially if some breaks go your way, a 9 or 10 win operation, and you might be able to get into the playoffs, and you've got a quarterback who can't seemingly do what needs to be done in key moments, we're going to do everybody's favorite game, and that is research in the middle of a segment. I know producer Dylan loves it. It's a high-wire act that he loves to watch me to do here because it requires me to fill while also clicking buttons on the tablet, but I think we're going to do a good job of this because what I am going to try to tell you is I want to know if what my internal process about Kyler Murray is matches the statistics. I want to know if the feeling that I have of a quarterback who doesn't win meaningful games in December matches with how he plays in these months. Now, not all games are created equal when I break this down by month, but these are the month-by-month statistics broken down for Kyler Murray. He has played 17 September games. He is 7-9-1. Okay. Slow starter is the point that we would make there. October, he's played in 23 games, 15-8. October, Kyler Murray hits a groove. November, he's made 14 starts, 4-10. You can start to see the wheels falling off here. December, 20 starts, 7-13, and he's made 4 January starts, and he is 1-3. So November, December, January. 38 starts, 14 in November, 20 in December, 4 in January. 38 starts in what we would describe as the crunch time. November, December, January. He has 12 wins in 38 starts over those 3 months. He has 8 wins in 24 starts in December and January. And I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm including the games that they've played in December and January when they've been eliminated from contention. And those games don't carry the same weight. So I'm putting them all in a bucket and telling you that he has played 24 games in December and January, and he is 8-16. 8-16 in 24 starts in December and January. He has 12 wins in 38 starts from November through January. That's a problem. That has to get corrected. Here's an opportunity over the last 4 weeks of the season, which includes a couple more December starts and a January start, to change the narrative. It might come up short. It might not mean the division or the playoffs, but Kyler Murray has 4 games remaining this season to change the narrative of how we talk about him. If he doesn't, if he continues to add to this narrative, it is going to be a long, long, long offseason.